Good morning. Welcome to Columbus Center for Spiritual Living. My name is Kristen Piers, and it is my pleasure to lead you in meditation this morning. Allow yourself to become comfortable wherever you are during this live service, in your car, in your seat with the fresh breeze, in your homes. Allow yourself to be comfortable. Inhale and exhale. Inhale and exhale. Sinking into the space where you are. Letting it support you for this next 15 minutes. This is your time to relax, to let go, to trust that you are cared for. All is well. As you hear the wind sweeping past this microphone, let it become part of the meditation for you. Bringing your attention to the center of your head, away from all the things to do, all the connections to be made. Right now, the connection for you. Bring your attention to the center of your head, that space that is equidistant between left and right, top and bottom.
So. I don't know the frequency though. I think it's like 93.5, but I'm not positive.
Let yourself sink into this space. In fact, as you find the space, imagine that it becomes a room. And that room becomes as big as it needs to be to fit you and your comfort level. This room defies space and time. It can be as big as you desire. There you go. You can have walls or no walls. Your floor could be a sandy beach, or beautiful hardwood, or something else. Your ceiling in this room that you create, your ceiling can be the sky or outer space. However you want this room in the center of your head to be, today, it gets to be. Inhale with me. And exhale. So now as you're in your room with the perfect boundaries, ceiling, floor, walls, imagine the right temperature, the perfect temperature. You like being bundled up, it can be brisk. You prefer the warm, imagine that suddenly it's 80 degrees and you are in the middle of it. Sinking in even deeper. Drop your attention down to your heart. You can even put your hand on your heart and feel the beating of your heart. Just noticing that it keeps going no matter what. It keeps the flow of your breath moving, the flow of your blood moving naturally, easily. Give your heart a thank you Send it a word, a color. Thank you, heart. Thank you for supporting me in my circulation, supporting me in my flow. Thank you for doing the job that you were born to do. Thank you. Dropping your attention from your heart down to your pelvis, down to your belly. Oh, yes, letting that deeper tones move in. This is part of you. This pelvis that keeps you stable, supports your back, your belly, your neck, shoulders, head, and heart. So from the center of your head, gazing down through your heart into your pelvis, say thank you. Thank you for supporting me, for being strong and steady, allowing me to be mobile and do my good work in this life. Thank you. Traveling down from your pelvis through your legs and your feet into the earth. The deep mother. Let her support you with her flow and her rhythm. Perhaps even imagining you want to go just deeper and deeper, the center of the earth, the warmth. The center. Can you be there? Slow and slow. Creation in that center. Notice what it's like in the center of the earth. Noticing and thank you, Mother Earth. Can you receive her gratitude as well? We are a part of each other. There is no separation. Let yourself be nurtured and nourished. Allow Mother Earth to gift you with her life, her energy. And as you accept her gift, allow yourself to release what no longer serves you back to her. Inhaling and exhaling. Staying in this space of connection, Mother Earth, for a few moments of silence, listening to the music, letting it guide you. Yes, the gifts. Given, receive, given, receive. Perfect, natural, easy, circulation, supported, rooted, connected. Yes. Oh. If it pleases you, allow yourself to stay rooted in the center of the mother and bring your consciousness back up through your feet into this wonderful body that you inhabit that makes it possible for you to be here now. Bringing your attention to your pelvis. Thank you, pelvis. And through your heart, your ever-beating heart. Thank you, heart. And back to the center of your head. Hello. Gazing again at this perfect room that you've chosen. Noticing if you've changed it. Thank you, room. Thank you, head. I am grateful. Bringing your attention to your eyeballs and your shoulders. Beginning to open your eyes so gently with love and care. Wiggling your fingers and your toes. So good. Thank you for joining me for this meditation today. Thank you.
the other chair?
No, I'll freeze if I sit still.
You're gonna stand up the whole time? Are you?
Good morning and welcome to Columbus Center for Spiritual Living. We are so excited to see you guys here today. My name is Kristen Wilcock and I am a religious science practitioner and I will be giving you the announcements this morning. Woo! Please join us for our Wednesday Community Connection from 7 to 8 p.m. See your CCSL Weekly Word e-newsletter for the Zoom sign-in or contact the CCSL office. You can also find the Zoom sign-in on our Facebook page. We are working with Colin Tipping's book, Radical Forgiveness. Also see Reverend Gregory's private Facebook group called CCSL Spiritual Practice Group, and everyone is invited to join the page. Have you been looking forward to the start of the Science of Mind certified classes? I have been. The time has arrived. We will start a brand new class called Spiritual Principles and Practices. This will be an online certified class with Reverend Amy Papadoupolo and Reverend Gregory Toole. It will begin on Saturday, October 31st from 10 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. and it is a 5-week class. The investment is $200, which includes the workbook, certificate from CSL Home Office, and counts towards practitioner training prerequisites. Payment plans and partial scholarships are available. To register, contact Robin Brookhouse at robin@spirituallivingcolumbus.org. Join us for our next virtual choir project. All you need is a smartphone and the willingness to sing. We will take care of the technical stuff. Everyone is welcome to participate, whether you are in the choir or not. The music team is looking forward to co-creating something special with you. Contact Carissa Holmes at carissa@carissacreates.com. That's CARISA@carissacreates.com if you are interested. News from the CSL Home Office. The 2021 spiritual journals are now available to purchase. More than 300 centers worldwide are unified by this journal in CSL's 2021 global themes. The journal is just $14.95 plus shipping and handling. To order your journal, go to csl.org and at the top of the homepage, click on the shop button and it will direct you to the purchase. This journal lovingly supports your community members' spiritual paths and includes the 2021 CSL monthly and weekly global themes, 2021 at a glance calendars for the entire year, and 2 journal pages dedicated to each week. You are the face of God. Are you tired of not seeing your friends and family in person? Help us share shining smiles, sparkling eyes, and the community's face, mask or no mask, in our Sunday celebration. We are collecting pictures of CCSL community members, supporters, new visitors, guests, and friends to share in our virtual Sunday service. Please send us a picture of yourself and let us see you and what you are up to in these unique times. Show us your favorite mask, your pets, your garden, your COVID projects, what you are doing, or whatever you want to share. Send your pictures to Robin at spirituallivingcolumbus.org so we can share the faces of God in our virtual Sunday celebration. Everyone is invited to attend an upcoming workshop entitled Prosperity Upgrade, an experiential workshop, on Sunday, November 1st from 12 to 2 p.m. via Zoom. The link will be available soon, so watch for your CCSL Weekly Word e-newsletter. This workshop is presented by the CCSL Prosperity Corps, Reverend Gregory Toole, Reverend Amy Papadopoulou, Kristen Pierce, Julie Matheson, and Carissa Holmes. No pre-registration is required. If you would like prayer after service or any time throughout the week, you can find our prayer practitioners on our website, columbuscsl.org, or you can submit a prayer request on our website or on our Facebook page. And now we have Carla, who would like to give us a little message about the Compassionate Care Team.
Hi. So I'm asking anyone that is not volunteering for any other position in CCSL to come up and take a call sheet. There's only 8 people on the list. There are 8 sheets. And what we're wanting to do is to stay in contact, especially with the COVID starting to rise again, but also to maintain that connection within our community. So anybody that's willing to take a sheet, I'm going to leave them up here, and please come up and take one. And I want to thank CCSL, the practitioners, the Compassionate Care Team for the support that I've received during this new adventure in my life.
Thank you, Carla. So as Carla said, if you are interested in reaching out to our community members and would be willing to contact 8 people, please come see us after service and we will give you a list so you can maintain that contact with our beloved community members. That is the news for today, so let's sing our opening song.
Speak your mind.
The week was long, but now we're lighting up so bright. Our open hearts show the love within inside, and this happiness we share with you. Open up and be yourself. Open up and free yourself and shine that light. The week was long, but now we're lighting up so bright. Our open hearts show the love we give inside, and this happiness we share with you. Open up and be yourself. Open up and free yourself and shine that light. Open up and be yourself and shine that light. Open up and be yourself.
There was a quest
Shine that light.
to be in my broadcast.
Yeah, don't do that.
Oh, what does that do?
It adds them to the podcast
What do you mean?
in a separate stream.
Good thing I.
Good morning. I am Reverend Gregory Toole, your interim minister, and live here in Columbus, Ohio. Wow. So good to see everyone, although where I live in Bakersfield, California, it's going up to 93 degrees today, so I'm not sure about this weather. But I'm really happy to be here with all of you, and good morning and welcome. And thank you so much for being here. We're sorry that Julie Matheson, practitioner, couldn't make it today, but she will be with us again in the near future. And so here we are, and we're an inclusive organization. We embrace every person. We embrace you exactly for who you are. You are the divine in expression, uniquely expressing. So we welcome and embrace the gift that you are to this community. And thanks for those who are joining us this morning online, to our online Facebook community, live streaming. And thank you to Matt for manning the camera over there. And so we'll post the recording afterward on our YouTube channel, Columbus CSL. And for those of you who have our mission statement in front of you or have it memorized, you can repeat it with me. You can say it with me. We serve the transformation of individual lives through education, spiritual practice, and deep community, using spirit and science of mind principles as our compass. I'd like to thank practitioner Kristen Piers for our meditation this morning and for holding the high watch. And also I'd like to bring up again, practitioner Kristen Wilcock, who will be our platform practitioner today. Again, so glad to see everyone. Blessings.
We now begin our sacred service with the ringing of the bowls. I would like to introduce our community member, Debbie Conkle, who will be giving the reading this morning. Debbie?
Thank you, Kristen, and good morning, everyone. Here is the reading for today. A reading from The Art of Spiritual Healing by Joel Goldsmith. Let me repeat this important aspect of the principle of supply. Supply is not getting, supply is giving. The bread that you cast upon the water is the bread that comes back to you. It is not your neighbor's bread, it is your own bread. And if you have not cast it upon the water, there will be no bread to come back to you. All the bread on the water is earmarked for return to the person who has sent it forth. In one way or another, you must cast bread upon the waters. If you have not learned how to do this, this is your first great lesson. Because of the infinite nature of your being, You cannot add health to yourself, or wealth, or opportunity, or companionship. All you can do is to recognize that you embody all that God is and has. You must not try to get. You must not try to have. You must not try to draw to you. You must learn how to let infinity flow out from you. The coming back of the bread is a reflex action that takes place of its own accord, like throwing a rubber ball against a wall. You throw it, but it bounces back of its own accord.
Thank you, Debbie. Now let the music take us within for just a couple of minutes. There is one abundant source in this universe. This source is filled with unending goodness. It is all-knowing, all-giving, all-providing, all-loving. It is endless possibility, unending peace, and boundless comfort and security. This source is lavishly generous. Grains of sand, pollen, stars, atoms, seeds, the colorful leaves that fall at our feet. Everywhere there is more than enough. This source has many names. I call it God. The generosity of God pours down, spreads out, and gives endlessly at all levels of reality that we can see and at levels invisible to us, because it is its nature to give, to provide way beyond need. And as it gives, it also receives in a swirling dance of giving and taking back that is joyous, generous, and never-ending. I am made in this image of goodness and plenty, giving and getting, performing my part in the divine flow. All this evidence of generosity is clearly visible to me, and I am overjoyed to know that I am part of this endless rotation of circulation. As this is true for me, this is true for each person. This overwhelming abundance and goodness connects each and every one of us, for we are all of the one mind. I accept right here and now this access to the great reality. I accept goodness. I accept clarity. For God illuminates my path and shows me divine guidance. I claim this generosity of spirit, this wondrous abundance of love and freedom as my life. It radiates peacefulness and contentment throughout me. My heart is filled with giving, giving of love, giving of time, giving of money to all who need it. And my body is filled with endless energy to give and give and give. And while giving, I am content knowing that my every need is being easily met and that I want for nothing. I seek and find the door is open and pouring out all its gifts of generosity, prosperity, perfect guidance, and greater good for me, my family, and my community. I accept these gifts now. I accept the abundance of spirit. This abundance comes to me from all places in expected ways and unexpected ways, and I give and receive graciously. Knowing that my supply is as certain as the water that appears when I turn on the tap, I am thankful. With gratitude and unstopping love, joy, and excitement, I move forward to do what's mine to do with great enthusiasm, and I wait in joyful eagerness to claim my good. I absolutely know that this flow of the divine is happening right now. I am grateful for this knowing and all its goodness and find peace in this gratitude. I know that this circulation of life and unlimited abundance is what is. I release this prayer knowing that it is already done, and please join me in saying, and so it is.
I'll
again. And wow, Carissa's so cool, you know. Let's give her a hand. I don't know how you do a hand up from the cars, but there we go. That's a good idea. I like that. I like that. She's so cool, though. She has her face mask attached to her wrist here, right on her wrist here, so she can put it right back on. I gotta model that myself. That's a good move. So good to be here, and this is our Prosperity Month. We've been talking about prosperity in October. We're going to even go through the middle of November talking about prosperity, because why not? We're here to be prosperous. We're meant to be prosperous. We're meant to be well and whole and supplied and supported by life, and that's the way life is. So I want to, just before I launch into my talk called In the Flow of Divine Circulation, I want to mention this class again that's coming up that Reverend Amy and I will teach together starting on Saturday, October 31st at 10 a.m. It'll go just for 5 weeks, and it's a certificated class. I just finished teaching it in Bakersfield, and the students loved it. It's a great sampling of a whole plethora of spiritual practices and methods and ways of putting the science of mind teaching into practice in your life, and it's a brand new class. So I hope many of you will join us for that. We've got this brand new prosperity core, and Kristen Pierce, practitioner Kristen Pierce, was the kind of brainchild behind that and brought it to the core council. And now it's a thing. It's a real thing now. It has, yes, thank you. It has life. And this prosperity core, we defined, you know, what do we mean by prosperity here at Columbus Center for Spiritual Living? And the way we defined it is that it's the freedom to fully live and express our unique gifts. This freedom includes being well-resourced financially, physically, mentally, emotionally, and socially. And then we developed a mission statement for this prosperity core, which is to hold space, spark ideas, and offer strategies and programs for the expanding prosperity of Columbus Center for Spiritual Living, its members, and friends. We fully embody the consciousness of abundance in our daily lives. And so that's what we're envisioning here. And we're really envisioning, you know, as we've gone through, this community's gone through a lot of change, and some people have moved on. We're really looking at we're really looking at stepping into the next evolution of this community as we prepare and start to bring our minister search committee back together. We start to look at calling in this next senior minister. We're really looking at launching into something really big here. It's not like we're trying to get back to somewhere that we were before. We're really looking at something's calling us into the future. Something is calling us into newness. And I think this prosperity core is going to be a key part of us stepping into that newness. I want to read you something from Concordia Center for Spiritual Living in Rhode Island, because I really like their practice of how they define their practice of conscious giving. They say that conscious giving is a spiritual practice we observe. It is through that practice we consciously open ourselves up to give as source. That's the part that really drew me in. We open ourselves up to give as source. So we become a channel, we become a vehicle, we become a vessel through which that infinite abundance of the divine can bless others and bless our world. And I just love that, to give as source. They go further to say we become a channel for spirit in the world, blessing those that have blessed us through our finances, our donations, tithes, and offerings. This is not something we do out of a sense of obligation. Let me find my place here. It is something we choose to do consciously from an attitude of generosity and gratitude. Just as we seek to co-create our lives with God, we practice co-giving. We get to be a channel for God to flow abundance. And I just love that statement. And one of the things I love about conscious giving, which is, you know, we're in the middle of launching our pledge campaign, and you'll get a letter in the mail that tells you all about that. And what I like about conscious giving, which also could be called intentional giving, also could be called committed giving, is that anything we do consciously and intentionally is much more powerful than anything that we do randomly. And it allows us to put a stake in the ground and say, where do I want to be with this community in terms of my giving? What part do I want to play in the expansion and evolution of this community into its greater yet to be? So I just love that we're doing this and that we're being conscious and intentional about it. I think back to my first experience of going into a more traditional Christian church, and I went in and I was not a churchgoer at all, and they had an envelope, and on that envelope was a blank space where you would write in your income for the year. And then the next thing was a multiplication sign, and then the next thing said 10%. And then it said, okay, you multiply that, and that's how much you owe the church. And I remember my reaction to that. I was like, well, heck no, no one tells me, where I put my money. And so it's very interesting now that, in Science of Mind, where we don't teach tithing as an obligation. We don't teach it as a burden or something you must do. We teach it as a principle, as an activation of the law of circulation. Not just an activation, a being in the natural flow of life, because the natural flow of life is giving and receiving, and being in balance with giving and receiving. The law of circulation says that giving starts the flow of receiving. And Ernest Holmes said that in his book, How to Change Your Life, he said, you might in fact be greatly surprised to find that I'm sorry, I'm a little off course here with looking at the cars and everything, so I'm like getting back to my notes, but just bear with me here. He says, you might in fact be greatly surprised to find that kind, generous, free service may just be the thing to set in motion the activities which will result in a job for you that you need, increased business, or some other financial circumstance you desire. The same is true in regard to giving money. It returns with a certainty and promptness that is astounding. So the law of circulation says that whatever you give returns to you in greater measure. And I love the reading that Debbie Conkle did from Joel Goldsmith. That bread that we cast upon the water, that bread that we cast upon the water is earmarked for return back to us. Everything we say, you cannot outgive God, you cannot outgive Spirit, you cannot outgive the universe. Whatever you give is going to return back multiplied so many times over. And this isn't just about the church here, right? This is not like a way to just get you to give more to the church. I mean, of course the church needs money to run and to operate and to flourish and thrive, but this is about life. This is about how we be in life and how we be in the flow of life. So Goldsmith also says you start the flow of giving and you will start the flow of supply. He says in spiritual truth, I love this, in spiritual truth, supply is not income, it is outgo. We often think of the income, what's your income, what's your income? But our real prosperity is in our ability to give. That's our prosperity. We could say that what we receive is actually other people's prosperity coming into us, right? But our real prosperity, our true prosperity, is our consciousness around giving. How free can I be? How conscious can I be? How much freedom can I have with everything I receive? And how generous can I be? And then in that consciousness of knowing that I cannot outgive Spirit, I cannot outgive the universe, how beautiful it is that whatever I give is going to come back to me anyway. The bread that I cast upon the water is earmarked for return back to me. So Goldsmith says, give in the realization that it is not what you get that is your supply, it is what you give. It may be that you have been holding on too tightly to money. If so, you will have to learn to release it, and by turning it loose, set in motion the flow that inevitably returns to you. One of my favorite, probably my absolute favorite experiences with tithing, because I like, these principles, these laws that we use, law of circulation, these principles we use. For me, it's a play. For me, it's something we play with, we experiment with, it's not so serious. You know, it's like we play with this and we experiment with this and we find out if these things are true or not. Like, we don't just take for granted that this minister or this practitioner or someone else told us that there's this law of circulation or that what we give returns to us. Science of mind is really about experimentation and practice and living and seeing if it's true, proving it to ourselves. Right? We don't say take anything we say for granted. It's about like experimenting, playing, and seeing if it's true. And if it really is true, that there's a law of circulation, wouldn't we want to absolutely know that? And if it's true, really is true that there's a law of circulation, wouldn't we actually absolutely want to be practicing with that and playing with that and experimenting with that and seeing how we can become a channel or infinite source to bless all we come in contact with, all the organizations that are important to us, all the people who are important to us, all of our own dreams and goals and talents and gifts that we want to give to the world. Wouldn't we want to know if there's this law of circulation that allows me to give and receive so freely that it just keeps expanding in my experience? I would want to know about that. And in fact, I did discover that for myself, that for me, in my experience, this is absolutely true. And how beautiful that is. And so my favorite, I am coming back to what I said was my favorite example of this, which is I took a workshop from a minister named Reverend Karen Rousseau, who wrote a book called The Money Keys, and the workshop was already paid for. It was already paid for, so she was already paid for her work, but I got so much out of the workshop that I decided to tithe to her. And so I went to get my checkbook, and as I was going to get my checkbook and coming back from getting my checkbook, my playful mind kicked in. And in my playful mind, I was thinking, how wonderful this is that I'm writing this tithe check out, and I have no desire, I'm not trying to get anything back, I'm not trying to get anything for it. I'm really just giving from my heart. I'm giving from love with no expectation of getting anything back whatsoever. But isn't it beautiful, and isn't it funny, and isn't it interesting that I will get something back, even though that's not why I'm doing it? Isn't it wonderful? Isn't this a wonderful universe that even though I'm just giving from my heart, that something will come back to me and bless me? And I was just having fun with that. And I was chuckling and laughing. And so I came back to Reverend Karen, and I handed her the check, took about 2 steps to my right, and someone handed me an envelope. And I wasn't expecting an envelope from this person. And I kind of waited a little bit to get away. I didn't want to look too anxious to, rip this thing open. So I took a few steps away, and then the curiosity overcame me. I said, I got to see what's in this envelope. And in that envelope was a tithe to me. And it was for orders of magnitude more than the tithe I had just given. And it was just this amazing little fun experience I had with Spirit. I often am in humor. I often feel that the universe has a sense of humor. I don't think the universe is as serious as some people do. I'm always in a playful space with the universe, playing with the universe. Like, okay, universe, what are we going to do here? And so it was kind of like just the universe saying right back to me, yeah, you're right on. You're right on. Like, you're not given for the reason of getting something back, which of course you're going to get something back, because that is how the law of circulation works. So I invite you to experiment with this. Experiment with this law of circulation. See if when you give in a new direction, just pay attention. Don't give because you want to get something back, but just give out of the kindness and generosity of your heart, and then just watch what happens and pay attention and notice the ways that you are blessed. And the first way that I'm always blessed in the giving is how I feel. Whenever I give, I feel something in my being that says, oh, first of all, I start to feel more prosperous because I have something to give. So notice what you feel, and then notice what starts to happen in your experience. Notice the ways that you are blessed. Notice how well your life works and how well your life flows when you step into that flow of life, because tithing really is like breathing. It really is like a lot of things in life. It's like the flow of life. It's like the natural ebb and flow of life. With breathing, we would never think of just breathing in. We would never think of just inhaling. right? That would be ridiculous, right? With breathing, we inhale, we don't even have to think about it. We don't have to think like, oh, now that I've inhaled and I've gotten all this beautiful, rich oxygen, let me go exhale. You don't have to think about it. It's natural. It's the way things work. That's really what this law of circulation is. It's really what tithing is. It's the natural way that life works. So we want to come into balance. We want to be in balance with giving and receiving. Without this, let's just say a lot of times people will think, well, when I have more, then I'll start giving. But I don't give much now because I don't have anything. But when I have something, I'll start to give. And it really doesn't work that way. It's kind of like with the breathing. You know, you're like, well, I'm going to breathe in for now. I'm just going to keep breathing in. And when I feel a little better, then maybe I'll breathe out. It doesn't really work that way. So we have to kind of step out there now. We have to be in that flow now. We have to come into balance now with our giving and receiving, because that is actually, as Goldsmith said and as Holmes said, that is actually what starts the flow of receiving. So by not giving, by waiting to give until I think I'm going to have enough, we kind of are in the consciousness that I don't have enough. And the consciousness that I don't have enough produces I don't have enough. So we don't want to be in that consciousness. We want to be in the consciousness that I have enough right now, that I always have something to give. And then again, experiment. Like tithing is 10%, but you don't have to start there if that's not where you are now. Just think of some number that you could start to give right now. Let's just say it was 1% of your income, right? Something definite though, not just something wishy-washy, because that's not how we want to receive our prosperity. We don't want to receive our prosperity in a wishy-washy way, so why would we want to give in a wishy-washy way? We want to be definite about it. We want to be clear about it. We want to be intentional about it. So we could just pick a number. We could say 1% or 2% or 5% or 8% or 10%. But pick a definite number and then begin to have a discipline about it and a clear intention about it, and give very clearly from your heart with no expectation of getting anything back, and play with that. And choose a percent that's not going to feel burdensome to you. Because if it feels burdensome, then you start to go into a different kind of consciousness. But we want to be light. We want to be free. We want to be expansive about it. And it will naturally expand. You don't have to worry about getting to 10%. If you start with 1%, you will get to 10%. Because that practice that you're doing of being intentional and clear and definite will begin to build on itself. And naturally you will get to 10%, because you will see, like I have found, that the law of circulation is real. That it's not just something that anyone made up. And in seeing that it's real and experiencing it as something real, it will become as definite as many other things in life, like breathing. It will become that definite for you. And when it becomes that definite for you, there will be no question about it. You will be so happy, like in Scripture, in Corinthians, it says God loves a cheerful giver. And it doesn't mean that God doesn't love you if you're not a cheerful giver. It means that that's the way life works. Metaphysically, metaphorically, it means the way that life works, the way that we participate in the greatest way in life is when we give from our hearts fully with no expectation of return. And then there is the other side that is receiving. Because sometimes, for some people, the giving part is actually the easy part. And if you're that person where the giving part is really easy and yet you never seem to receive so much, then we have to come into alignment on the receiving side of things. We have to know that I am also, just as I feel others are worthy of receiving from me, that I am worthy of receiving from life. And so we balance that out. We balance out the giving and the receiving, and that puts us in the flow of life and gives us such freedom and such joy. Aren't we all in so much more freedom and joy when we're in balance as opposed to when we're out of balance? It's like that's our natural state. Harmony is our natural state. So we want to constantly be looking for ways that we can give in a new direction. And giving can be many different forms. You know, one of the ways that we can give is we can clear out our closets, and we can clear out our garage, and we can give some things away that we're no longer using. It's a beautiful way to start the law of circulation, to invoke the law of circulation, to put ourselves more in the flow, because everything is meant to be in motion. Everything is meant to be in motion. The whole earth that we're on right now is revolving, right? And it's rotating, right? Everything is in constant motion. And when we put things in a stagnant state, just sitting there not being used, something we haven't used for years, we probably never will use it, we're creating stagnation. So we want to free things up. We want to find a way to put that back in motion and use. Give it to someone who could use it. Donate it to Goodwill or the Salvation Army or wherever. So we want to be in the flow of life. Today's talk really is about flow. This beautiful feminine principle called flow. Being in the flow of life. And even doing conscious movement like yoga, ecstatic dance, Tai Chi, all these forms of conscious movement will also free us up in our energy field to also put us in that flow of life. We don't want anything to be stagnant. We don't want our body to be stagnant. We don't want our money to be stagnant. We don't want our home to be stagnant with things that we're no longer using. We want to free that up. We want to come into the flow of life. We want to be giving, receiving, put everything in flow. If anything's not being used and is sat in the closet for 5 years, let it go, right? We want to be in that flow. So the invitation today really is to examine where you are in the balance of giving and receiving. Are you out of balance because you're just always giving, and never being willing to receive yourself? Then we need to come into balance with that. We need to come into harmony with that. Because that will be the way everything in our life shows up. Everything in our life will be out of balance if that one thing is out of balance. So we want to come into balance with that. Or if we're the person that is always receiving, but boy, we just don't want to give anything. We can't release anything. I don't want to release any money. Well, I might need this money. I don't want to release it, or I can't release anything I get. We want to come into balance with that. We want to have freedom in both the giving and the receiving. We want to be free ultimately. That's what we're really going for. We want to be free, as our prosperity statement talked about. Our Prosperity Core mission statement and our Prosperity Core definition of prosperity, we want to ultimately be free. So even if no money were ever exchanged, am I personally, and as the center, able to absolutely fulfill on every level its purpose, its mission, its gifts, its talents, and what it is here to do and be and give. So that's true for each of us individually, and that's true for the center. If we can do that, if we can have that level of freedom, then we have all the prosperity we could ever want, regardless of whether it comes in the form of money, in the form of people giving up their time and talent. That's what we're really going for, this ultimate freedom, where we individually can be fully expressed, and the Columbus Center for Spiritual Living can be fully expressed in all of its ways without any sense of limitation whatsoever. That which we are here to do and be, and ways that we are to serve the world, we are doing it completely without any limitation. That's what we're going for. Thank you so much for being here today. So good to see you in person. All of your cars just pointing right at me here. Let's just turn within for prayer for a moment. And so we turn within to recognize that one power, that there's not two powers. There's not some power that's opposing me and then a power that's working for me, and I have to battle with those two powers. No, there is one power, and that one power is a power for good. That one power is a power of infinite love, of infinite givingness, and never withholding anything from us, always giving of itself. And so knowing that this is that one power that exists, I know it's the power that is within me. It is my very life and being. It is the power that is within each one of us. It is our very life and being. That one power, that one infinite self-givingness of spirit within each one of us, within all that we contact. And so I know today that we step into that balance of giving and receiving. We step into that balance of knowing that God is my infinite source, that spirit within me is my infinite source. And we realize that I always have something to give. If there's not even a penny in my checking account, I still have something to give. I can give someone a hug, or maybe today it's a virtual hug. But I always have something to give. And so we're in that flow today, that sense, that consciousness that there is no limitation whatsoever imposed upon me, and therefore I free myself up by accepting the divine gift that is ever being given. And so I know today that we are in that flow. We're in that flow of knowing, oh, I am overflowing with good. I have so much to give. And we give from that overflow from love. And then we open our arms wide to the universe and say, yes, God, I am not trying to get anything, but I know that you just can't help but give so much to me, and I accept. I accept all the good that life wants to give me. I accept all the good that the universe wants to give me. And so we come into that beautiful balance, and we are free. We are free. Thank God Almighty, we are free at last. And in this freedom, I just give great thanks. Wow, how good it is to be free. We give great thanks. And I release this word to that immutable law, knowing that the law only knows to say yes, and it is done just as I have declared, touching and agreeing with each person here. And so we let it be. We release it. And we join together in affirming together, and so it is. Yes, and we'll have some beautiful music for you now.
I need to go in and warm up my feet. They've turned into ice again.
Peaceburg. Yes. Are you all having a good time here today? Because I know I am. I'm having a great time here. Yeah. It is wonderful. I just love it. Is it normal that my teeth are shattering? Is that normal? Or so it is time for the giving of our gifts, and Margie and Robin will be moving around your cars with baskets if you want to give in that way. And our thank you for the ways that you give to this community. You're the ones that allow us to keep going and keep offering all that we do, and offering the spiritual food, and we keep moving forward as a community here. And we're honored to support you spiritually, and all the ways that we bring programs to you from Columbus Center for Spiritual Living. So thanks we appreciate your tithes, your donations, your gifts, and they're important to us. So in fulfilling our vision statement as a world that works for everyone. So we know God is our source, and we are circulating Spirit's energy in the form of money by giving and receiving, as we talked about a moment ago. You can also give via PayPal on our website, or you can do text to give, and I've got the number right here. You can text right now from your car, 614-681-8616. Type it in real quick and text away. 614-681-8616 is the number for text to give, or mail your offering to the office, or contact the office if you need more information. And so our offertory affirmation, which you may or may not have in front of you or remember, but let us say it at least in spirit together. My gift goes forth to heal and bless and prosper. It does its good and perfect work and returns to me multiplied abundantly. And so it is. Who's that behind me that has it memorized? Oh, this. All of you, they all have it memorized. Excellent. Let's hear some wonderful music again from Tony and Carissa and our band.
Flowing in the street, moving in the flow, opening to the all, letting it go, flowing
join me in this prayer for abundance and prosperity. Right here and right now, we recognize the infinite source of all that is. The gifts of your love amplify the infinite good that expresses through each one of you, and for that we are grateful. Your gifts are part of the endless circulation of giving and receiving. Your generosity radiates out into the world and comes bouncing back to you joyously. I bless these gifts, I bless the givers, knowing that these gifts go forth and multiply. I say thank you, and together we sing.
And so it is, and so we let it be. And so it is, and so we let it be.
Yes. And wow, there's water up here. Is it raining? Okay. Not yet. All right. Well, let's really give some thanks here. Let us give thanks to Ralph Leesburg. Let's hear Ralph Leesburg. Let's give some thanks to Carissa Holmes, Wayne Carter, and Christopher Salomon, Tony Bernardi on the keyboard. And let us also thank Joe Nelson on the drums, Steve Paracas on the bass. Let's thank Debbie Conkle for that reading, that powerful reading today. Let's give thanks to our entire parking lot service team and all the other volunteers. Yes, yes, yes. How good it is to be together here. And we are hearing you, and we are working to see what it might take for us to be in person more. Would you like that? All right. Well, if you're joining us for the very first time, we welcome you. Thank you so much for being here. And if you put on your emergency flashers because you're here for the first time, we'll actually bring you some information. And if you're not receiving information from about our services, please call the office or send us a private Facebook message. And so we end by saying this blessing together, and you can repeat it after me. There is only one life. That life is God's life. That life is perfect. Someone has it memorized. And that life is my life now. And so it is.